Hello students, today I am going to deliver a lecture on role of sugar in food. The main objectives include the different types of sugars, to acquaint the students about the role of sugar in different type of foods, to acquaint the students about the role of sugar as preservative. Sugar is generalized name for sweet, short-chain, soluble carbohydrates, many of which are used in food. They are composed of carbon, hydrogen and oxygen. There are various types of sugar derived from different sources. Simple sugars are called monosaccharides and include glucose, also known as dextrose, fructose and galactose. The table or granulated sugar used in food is sucrose, a disaccharide. Other disaccharides include maltose and lactose. Sucrose, raw sugar, is found in tissues of most plants but is present in sufficient concentrations only in sugar beet and sugarcane. The refining of raw sugar removes unwanted taste and results in refined or white sugar. The first stage of refining is known as affination and involves immersing the sugar crystals in concentrated syrup that softens and removes the sticky brown coating without dissolving them. The crystals are then separated from the liquor and dissolved in water. The resulting syrup is treated either by a carbonatation or by a phosphatation process. Both involve the precipitation of a fine solid in the syrup, and when this is filtered out, many of the impurities are removed at the same time. Removal of color is achieved by either a granular activated carbon or an ion exchange resin. The sugar syrup is concentrated by boiling and then cooled and seeded with sugar crystals, causing the sugar to crystallize out. The liquor is spun off in a centrifuge and the white crystals are dried in hot air and ready to be packaged or used. The International Commission for Uniform Methods of Sugar Analysis sets standards for the measurement of the impurity of refined sugar known as ICU-MSA numbers. Lower number indicates a high level of purity in the refined sugar. Refined sugar is widely used for industrial needs for higher quality. Refined sugar is purer, that is below 3000, and raw sugar is over 1500. Types of sugar. Because of its diverse functional characteristics, sugar is used in many types of food preparations. The most common type of sugar available are: first, granular sugar. There are many different types of granular sugar. Some of these are used only by the food industry and professional bakers and are not available in the supermarkets. The type of granulated sugars differ in crystal size. Each crystal size provides unique functional characteristics that make the sugar appropriate for a specific type of food. It includes regular sugar. It is the most commonly used sugar in home food preparations. The food industry describes regular sugar as extra fine or fine sugar and is the sugar most used because of its fine crystals and are ideal for bulk handling and are not susceptible to caking. Second is the fruit sugar. Fruit sugar is slightly finer than regular sugar and is used in dry mixes such as gelatin desserts, pudding mixes and dry mixes. Fruit sugar has more uniform crystal size than regular sugar. The uniformity of crystal size prevents separation or settling of smaller crystals to the bottom of the box, an important quality in dry mixes and drink mixes. Third is the baker's sugar. Baker's sugar is even finer than that of fruit sugar. As its name suggests, it was developed specially for the baking industry. Baker's special is used for sugaring donuts and cookies as well as in some commercial cakes and produces fine crumb texture. Fourth is the superfine or ultrafine or bar sugar. The crystal size of this sugar is the finest of all the type of granulated sugar. It's ideal for extra fine textured cakes as well as for sweetening fruits and iced drinks since it dissolves easily. Fifth is the confectioner's or powdered sugar. This sugar is granulated sugar ground to a smooth powder and then sifted. It contains about 3% cornstarch to prevent caking. Confectioner's sugar is available in 3 grades on the basis of different degrees of fineness. The confectioner's sugar available in supermarkets is the finest of the 3 and is used in icing, confections and whipping cream. Fourth is the coarse sugar. Coarse sugar is recovered when sugar syrups high in sucrose are allowed to crystallize, thereby making it highly resistant to color change or inversion at high temperatures. These characteristics are important in making confections and liqueurs. Seventh is the sanding sugar. Another large crystal sugar used mainly in baking and confectionery industries to sprinkle on top of baked goods. The large crystals reflect light and give the product a sparkling appearance. Now, brown sugars. Turbinado sugar. This sugar is raw sugar which has been only partially processed, removing the surface molasses. Its blonde color with a mild brown sugar flavor and is often used in tea. Brown sugar, that is light and dark. Brown sugar retains some of the molasses syrup which imparts a pleasant flavor. Brown sugar tends to clamp because it contains more moisture than white sugar. Dark brown sugar has more color and strong molasses flavor than light brown sugar. Lighter types are generally used in baking and making butterscotch. Dark brown sugar has a rich flavor that is good for gingerbread, mincemeat, baked beans and other full-flavored foods. Barbados sugar. A British specialty brown sugar is very dark brown and has a particularly strong molasses flavor. The crystals are slightly coarser and thicker in texture than regular brown sugar. Free-flowing brown sugars. These sugars are specialty products produced by a co-crystallization process. The process yields fine powder-like brown sugar that is less moist than regular brown sugar. Since it is less moist, it does not clamp and is free-flowing like white sugar. Demerara sugar. Popular in England, Demerara sugar is a light brown sugar with large golden crystals which are slightly sticky. It's often used in tea, coffee or on the top of hot cereals. Now, liquid sugars. Liquid sugars. There are several types of liquid sugars. Liquid sucrose is essentially liquid white sugar and can be used in products wherever dissolved sugar might be used. Amber liquid sucrose, that is sugar, is darker in color and can be used where color is not a problem in the product. Invert sugar. Inversion of sucrose resulting in invert sugar, an equal mixture of glucose and fructose. Invert sugar is sweeter than white sugar. It's used mainly in food products to retard crystallization of sugar and retain moisture. Now, the role of sugar in bakery products. Cakes, cookies, quick breads, yeast breads require sugar for flavor, pleasing color, tender texture, evenness of grain, moisture retention, improved shelf life and yeast fermentation. Role of sugar in gluten development. During the mixing process, sugar acts as a tenderizing agent by absorbing water and slowing gluten development. During the mixing of batter and dough, flour proteins are hydrated. The gluten forms thousands of small, balloon-like pockets that trap the gases produced during leavening. These gluten strands are highly elastic and allow the batter to stretch under expansion of gases. However, if too much gluten develops, the dough or batter becomes ridged and tough. Sugar competes with these gluten-forming proteins for water in the batter and prevents full hydration of the proteins during mixing. As a consequence, less gluten is allowed to develop, preventing the elastic dough or batter from becoming ridged. With the correct proportion of sugar in the recipe, the gluten maintains optimum elasticity, which allows for gases to be held within the dough matrix. These gases from leavening agents are mixing, expand and allow the batter or dough to rise. By preventing the gluten development, sugar helps to give the final baked product tender crumb texture and good volume. Role of sugar in leavening. Sugar increases the effectiveness of yeast by providing an immediate, more utilizable source of nourishment for its growth. Under recipe conditions of moisture and warmth, sugar is broken down by the yeast cells and carbon dioxide is released at a faster rate than if only the carbohydrate of flour were present. The leavening process is hastened and the dough rises at a faster and more consistent rate. Role of sugar in creaming. Sugar crystals become interspread among the shortening molecules when shortening and sugar are creamed together. In cake and cookies, sugar helps promote lightness by incorporating air into the shortening. When sugar is mixed with shortening, the air becomes incorporated as very small air cells. During baking, these air cells expand when filled with carbon dioxide and other gases from the leavening agent. Role of sugar in egg foams. Sugar serves as whipping aid to stabilize beaten egg foams. In foam-type cakes, sugar interacts with egg proteins to stabilize the whipped foam structure. In doing so, sugar makes the egg foam more elastic so that air cells can expand and take up gases from the leavening agent. Role of sugar in caramelization. Sugar caramelizes when heated above its melting point, adding flavor and leading to surface browning. At about 175 degrees Celsius, melted dry sugar takes on an umber color and develops an appealing flavor and aroma. This amorphous substance resulting from the breakdown of sugar is known as caramel. In baking a batter or dough containing sugar, caramelization takes place under the influence of oven heat and is one of the two ways in which surface browning occurs. The golden brown, flavorful and slightly crisp surface of breads, cakes and cookies not only tastes good but also help to retain moisture in the baked product. Maillard reactions. At oven temperature, sugar chemically reacts with proteins in the baking product, contributing to the food's brown surface. These Maillard reactions are the second way in which bread crusts, cakes and cookies get their familiar brown surface. During baking of breads, cakes and cookies, Maillard reaction occurs among sugar and the amino acids, peptides or proteins from other ingredients in the baked products, causing browning. These reactions also result in the aroma associated with the baked goods. The higher the sugar content of the baked goods, the darker golden brown the surface appears. Now the role of sugars in fruit-based products. In jellies, marmalades, jams and preserves, sugars help to capture and preserve flavor, aroma, color and qualities of various fruits. Its role in gelling. Sugar is essential in the gelling process of jams, preserves and jellies to obtain the desired consistency and firmness. This gel forming process is called gelation, where the fruit juices are enmeshed in a network of fibers. Sugar is essential because it attracts and holds water during the gelling process. The amount of gel forming pectin in a fruit varies with the ripeness and the variety. In the case of a fruit too low in pectin, some commercial pectin may be added to produce the gelling, especially in jellies. Role of sugar in color retention. Sugar helps to retain the color of the fruit through its capacity to attract and hold water. Sugar absorbs water more readily than other components such as fruit in preserves and jellies. Thus, sugar prevents the fruit from absorbing water that would cause its color to fade through dilution. Sugar in canning. Sugar is used in the canning and freezing of fruits to improve flavor and texture and to preserve natural color and the shape. Fruit to be canned is placed in the syrup of greater sugar concentration than that of the fruit itself. The dissolved sugar in the syrup diffuses into the fruit and improves its flavor. In addition, sugar upon entering the cells also helps to minimize oxidation and prevents the fruit's firm texture from becoming mushy. As the fruit cooks in the syrup, the cell wall becomes more permeable and the fruit texture becomes tenderer, and the retention of the sugar renders the fruit plump and attractive. Now the role of sugar in non-sweet foods. Sugar enhances or brings out the flavor that are already in the barbecue sauce. It enhances the tomato, vinegar or lime flavors that may be present in the sauces. Sugar has an optimum taste between 100 degree Fahrenheit to 125 degree Fahrenheit and tastes better when heated. Because sugar can withstand high temperatures, it's good choice for barbecue sauces. Additionally, sugar provides superior taste, consistency and perform over other sweeteners in barbecue sauce applications. Sugar enhances flavor, browning and crusting of meat, fish, poultry and contributes to osmosis during the smoking step in the barbecue process. A dry rub is a mixture of sugar, often white and brown, salt and crushed herbs or spices that is applied to a protein surface prior to cooking. Sugar contributes to osmosis, creation of crust as well as caramelization and flavor enhancement. Sugar balances acid flavor and helps to maintain the texture of pickled vegetables. Besides balancing the flavor of the vinegar, sugar helps in strengthening vegetable cell structure and makes vegetable fiber firmer. Either brown or white sugar can be used. Brown sugar produces darker brine. Now, very important role of sugar, that is its role in food preservation. There are several ways in which sugar inhibits microbial growth. The most notable is simply osmosis or dehydration. Sugar, whether in solid or aqueous form, has an effect of drawing available water from the food to the outside and inserting sugar molecules into the food interior. The result is reduction of the water activity, a measure of unbound free water molecules in the food that is necessary for microbial survival and growth. The water activity of most fresh food is 0.99, whereas the water activity necessary to inhibit growth of most bacteria is roughly 0.91. Yeasts and molds, on the other hand, usually require even lower water activity, preventing their growth. The antimicrobial mechanism of sugar includes interference with the microbe's enzyme activity and weakening the molecular structure of its DNA. Sugar may also provide an indirect form of preservation by accelerating the accumulation of antimicrobial compounds. For example, the conversion of sugar to ethanol in wine by fermentative yeasts or the conversion of sugar to organic acids in sauerkraut by lactic acid bacteria. This was all about today's lesson. Hope all of you have understood. Thank you very much.